I fucking hate the left. I despise you people so much. Not you guys, but like the left in general. You're all so bad at what you do. There's no fucking wonder we're being run by fascists right now. You're so fucking incompetent. You guys can't defend any of your fucking positions. You have no idea how to efficaciously engage in coalition building or moving people over to the left. You have literally like no idea what you're doing. It's insane to me. I just have a sociology degree and I watched Destiny for like a decade, and that's all the expertise it took for me to single-handedly be better than almost any other left tuber at doing the things that I want to do.
I started leaking. I don't care about logs of me saying the N-word or whatever. I say the N-word all the fucking time in fucking private. Like, fuck, I don't give a fuck about that shit.
Okay. Now, there are several questions here. There are several relevant questions that we need to unpack. Here's question number 1. Is it immoral for white people to use the N-word in private? So I've said this before. This is not new. This shouldn't be surprising to anyone who watches my content. I say the N-word sometimes in private. Because 2 people here, this being Cormentine down here in the bottom left and Cole James Cash up here at the top center, these 2 people kind of came in to take Destiny to task over his use of the N-word in private. I think this might be Cormentine, dude. Oh, we got all the fucking signs. Is this not Cormentine? That is Cormentine? Oh, hey, Cormentine. No way he's going to talk to somebody like me after his getting blown the fuck out by Destiny. No fucking way. It's baby! The really funny thing is, like, Cormentine went after Destiny first, but I've said the N-word on stream way more than he has.
I feel like your reaction to your departnering towards Vaush, because I'm friends with Vaush, and I know that he respects you a lot.
I just think it's so fucking hilarious that Vaush has fucking clips out here being like, yeah, well, you know, in these cases, I think child porn is acceptable. And like, Vaush fans be like, oh, hold on. Like, well, he didn't actually mean that, blah, blah, blah. Like, if we go deeper, he's talking about, like, if you exploit any children under capitalism, like, you might as well exploit them like a child porn. He's not saying it's good. He's just pointing out how bad capitalism is. He's a hyperbolic example. Or when it comes to, like, glassing Israel, like, well, he doesn't actually mean he wants Israel to be nuked, blah, 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 blah. Or when it comes to, well, he lived in Beverly Hills. He lived in the poor parts, okay? There's this his whole fan base is constantly, like, going to great lengths to explain and explore the context and the nuance around things that Vaush says, okay? Which is fine. I would expect him to do that. But then when a 16-second clip is released of me, and then they all go fucking apeshit thinking I'm this alt-right, white nationalist racist that wants every single black and BLM protester killed and assassinated in the streets, like, very clearly there is a bias against me there. To pretend that they all liked me and they were hoodwinked by this 16-second clip when they spend most of their lives fighting in favor of Vaush, I'm not buying it, dude.
Shit talk like the dumb fuck lefties. I say these terminally online fucking dumbasses on the left, and I use the same terminology, even terminally online dumb fuck lefties. That's generally what I call them, and I completely agree. These people have no idea what they're talking about. But that's why I had a lot of obviously, you know, Riley Grace is in chat. You talked to her recently. She's very smart. But that's why I have a lot of respect for both you and Vaush. Ever brought up in Vaush's chat. If anyone's ever shit talking you, Vaush always says. Also, you guys, Hyena's saying that you guys weren't like friends. You guys were like acquaintances. But has said Destiny is good for the left. Destiny and I agree on like most pragmatic, you know, forefront issues that are relevant today. You know, vote for Biden. Climate change is a big deal.
I don't know. Yeah, and Cyborg Lexi too. Cyborg Lexi moved me over. Damn, dude, all the people who moved me over are fucking not dudes. How do you define bad faith? Every time. Because I think more of your intelligence than this. Watch your content for long enough to remember when you were better than this. I honestly think that your engagement with the online left is... Online leftists are fucking stupid. I get more of their shit than you do now. If you don't want people who are intimidated by you to talk to you, then you lose out on a lot of content. There's nothing fragile about what I do. Just come on. Do you want to talk about it on stream?
Do you want to talk about it? Yeah, right. People look at you like your whole flex is like people. I'm the bad guy. People are cowardly. Like they don't want to come on.
Do you
and
think
talk to
because
you.
Okay, wait. I feel like we're running in circles right now, and it's really, really difficult. I feel like I'm being gaslit, like unironically. Fucking pussy. Come on stream and call me a crap. Step up, my dude. If any of these pussies ever want to come on and actually talk to me rather than circle jerking in their echo chambers, they're absolutely free to. I love hard conversations. That's my favorite still in the world. I love them. They make me feel so good.
Okay, all right.
Wait, what?
So there's a word, and it's called, I don't even know if it's racist, but it's the G word. What is that?
Just say. I'll give you the G pass for this one. Okay.
Wait. Is it a racial slur?
out.
No,
Not
according to
out.
some people.
It's not.
Not according to some people.
It won't. You're fine.
He's talking about the term gusano.
Yeah, that's what it is,
Which is
right?
a
I don't know if
Cuban
it's a
term.
racial
I
slur.
It's not just for Cubans, but
It's not just for
Oh my
you.
God,
It's
you
a
said
G
it.
word. Okay, so the
That's
question
awkward,
is,
they'll use
does
it.
anybody think that this is a racist
I don't know
word?
what it means, mate. I don't
Yes.
know what it
Okay,
means.
so let me explain. You guys.
I've not
So,
seen the word.
if you're arguing with somebody who is you perceive
Gay?
to the right of you,
Makes,
okay?
makes, come on.
What you can do is, if you know their background, if you know, for instance, that they're Cuban or from some Latin American country, you can say, you're just a gusano. The implication being that you had wealthy family in your ancestry that are salty that like a socialist regime change happened in their country. That's what it means when you call someone a gusano. You're making fun of them because you think that maybe somebody back in their family can explain their current political views today.
Yeah, I thought it just meant they were like a traitor during the
That's what
Cuban
it means.
Revolution.
Kind of, yeah. You're like
exactly what it means.
Before.
That's all.
So it's not only racial, but it's also political. I mean,
Not racial.
It's not racial.
how is
Well,
it not
it's
racial?
it's based. You wouldn't say it to like a normal white guy. You would say this to somebody that you know has like ancestry that makes it relevant.
So
Here's an
Mate, I
example.
don't think anybody knows what it means.
Can I give you an example? And I think Destiny will probably be consistent on this. Another phrase will be Uncle Tom, right?
So the difference between
Destiny,
Uncle
would you
Tom-
say that saying to a black person they're an Uncle Tom is a racist term?
It could be seen that way, sure. But regardless of how you feel about these two words,
No, don't
it-
pivot. Don't slide around. Answer the
Ooh,
question
okay,
directly.
now hold on, Mike.
Well, it really depends on the
Is
type
it a
of
racist term?
So if you say that somebody's opinion is wrong on the basis of their race, some people might consider that a racist term. Other people might say that there might be times where it's justified to use a word like this that has a racial connotation, but isn't necessarily racist. There are two different arguments there, okay? I fall on the side that I don't think it's necessarily a racist term. Other people do. However, there's a difference between Gusano and Uncle Tom. The difference being that Uncle Tom applies to a...
That's
Yeah, I can explain it. Yeah, it's okay. I can explain it. Don't worry. Yeah, I am. So the difference between Uncle Tom and Gusano is Uncle Tom says that a person right now has some political belief that is contrary to their existence right now. Would be for
That's
Uncle
what
Tom. Right?
Gusano is used for too. It's
No,
used to
that
talk-
doesn't
it's
make
used to
sense.
des-
Mike, hold on.
it's
Hold
used
on.
to
Let me
describe
finish.
people
Mike,
that are
let me finish.
right-wingers,
Let me finish.
reactionaries,
No,
traitors.
no. It's used to describe somebody whose family might have had a vested interest in political positions based on their country of origin. You don't call me a Gusano because I'm white and you perceive me as having some right-leaning beliefs. It's because you say that my family were either slave owners or that they had some ancestry in Cuba that was displaced because of Fidel Castro. That's what it's about. Yes, that is that. No, you can't tell me no. That's what Gusano means. That's what it means.
Relax. Don't get so moldy because you got caught.
I'm not moldy. I didn't get caught on anything. But that's cute. Go ahead.
Listen, I don't use the phrase. Now, if someone of Cuban descent who was on my show called you a Gusano, now I, like you, was a white guy who never would use the term. I would use the term like scab or rat or something like that. That would be the term that I would use.
Sure.
And so like I don't think it's racist for somebody who is of Cuban descent to call someone else of Cuban descent a Gusano. And from what I've heard in a lot of Latin communities, it's used to describe people who are traitors to movements or largely just describing right-wing reactionaries, sort of like we would use the phrase redneck.
Sure,
Now, I
but
don't
that's
think
within
redneck
the
is a
first.
racist
Okay, there's two
term.
big.
I don't think
problems.
it's a racist term.
Two big
I think
problems.
it's a political term.
Two big problems.
Or maybe a cultural term.
Two big problems. It's clearly not just political because you just said that people in Latin America say it. So clearly it has something to do with your ethnicity /
It's a
nationality.
Spanish word. Of
okay?
course someone would
First-
use a Spanish word who's got a Spanish background. And I don't use it.
Okay,
'cause
and
I'm
comrade
not
is a
Spanish
French
background.
word, not an English word like
No,
you
it's
earlier
been
said.
an English word since like 1600.
Okay, but it has an origin as a French word. We don't look at language like this. We don't analyze the etymology of a word to find out whether or not it's a racial slur. The
Well, you
fact
just
of
said
the matter
Gusano
is,
comes from the 50s, so I mean it's possible it's come into
the fact of the matter
often, but I don't think it has.
is that you wouldn't just call a random white person a Gusano. You would say it to somebody if you knew their national or ethnic background because you thought you could get one over on them, right? That's the whole point. Secondly, your chat called me a Gusano over 300 times in our conversation because I checked the logs. Are all of those people Cuban? Because you didn't seem to have a problem with it then.
No, I mean, listen. I I wouldn't. It's sort of like the phrase Uncle Tom, which I think you kind of understand as is.
Why are you pivoting?
Probably.
Why are you pivoting from the 2 points?
I asked you a question. I asked you a word that's
okay. So okay.
Well, you boys and your
it's not identical. It's not identical.
Okay, she's so high she never makes it this
The
far.
difference would be if I called you an Uncle Tom because you had an ancestor that was black. That would be the difference. There's a level of removal.
Nobody's calling you an uncle. No one's calling you Gusano because of your ancestors. They're calling
yes, they
you
are.
Gusano because of your right-wing views on shit.
No, what? Oh, okay. Hold on. Wait, you think that people just randomly started calling me Gusano and Esteban? You don't think people said that because I have Cuban background? Are you fucking serious right now?
I mean, listen, dude. You're,
oh my! He can't admit it. You're such a slimy, Weasley little.
I'm not a slimy. I'm
just asking
you to defend other people's
slimy.
shit.
Look
Here
at
again,
look at
you
fucking
can't deal with what I do. You have to go talk. You have
it's
to.
Hilarious.
You have to
yeah,
bring up somebody else's words. Why are you bring up somebody else's words? Why don't you deal with what I'm doing? Why do you pivot to what other people do?
Okay, now you can't.
just told me that the reason why people call me Gusano is it's just a random thing they say to random white guys. But that's not true. It originated, from what I can tell, maybe there was a farther back origin, but Hassan's subreddit started calling me a Gusano because they apparently found out my mom is a fucking conservative in the U.S., which still has nothing to do with her background as being a Cuban.
So now I'm supposed to defend Hassan or understand that Hassan's community fucking lore.
You don't have to defend. You don't have to defend that lore. You told me earlier that it's okay if a Cuban calls another Cuban a Gusano. Okay. Firstly, also, by the way, I think it's funny that you consider me a Cuban because earlier you were arguing that Cuban is a nationality, not an ethnicity. Seems like you've gone back to saying it's an ethnicity now, which is funny. Okay. But you said that firstly, and then secondly, you're ignoring the fact that your chat called me a Gusano over 300 times. You don't know if those people are Cuban or not.
No, actually, no. This is actually a good point because this is. I know you'll think that you scored a big point, but this is how my community works. People came to me and said, "Hey, Mike, I am uncomfortable with the Gusano thing," and you know what? I was like, you know what? After all, I wouldn't like it if people were saying Uncle Tom all the time on my stream either. So we're gonna cut that out because I don't like it. Now, as opposed to you, when somebody came to you and said, I'm uncomfortable with using the phrase the N-word in private, when one of your close friends did that, you said, fuck you, I'm gonna do whatever I want. People came to me and said, hey, Mike, I'm uncomfortable with this being used, especially in the context it's being used. And I said, you know what? I don't want to have a community where people throw around terms like that. The reason why I brought up Uncle Tom is because I thought clearly they're very related in the sense
they're not. They're different.
They're describing somebody who has a right-wing belief, and you're talking about someone being a traitor to their community.
Doesn't mean that at all. In fact, like the Uncle Tom is inarguably a more racist term, not just because it's evocative of slavery, but also because what it's saying is it's a slave that is overly affectionate to the people. Yeah, exactly.
Master.
So it directly goes to the heart of slavery in America. Like Gusano is talking about people that for political gain decided to betray class causes to benefit themselves in a familial sense.
So you would say that Gusano is less offensive than Uncle Tom?
Wait,
I would definitely say Gusano is less offensive than Uncle Tom, absolutely. I suggest you do your own exercise, walk into a black neighborhood and call a black person an Uncle Tom and see how it pans out.
No, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%, but I'm also saying that I'm not really happy with Gusano being used in my community, and this is
I'm glad. Hey, that's fine. If you keep around on that, then that's good. Then we're good. All right.
But
what's the next topic?
I don't want to see Destiny up here, Mr. N-word Andy using Uncle Tom.
Firstly, hold on.
We have context here where everybody agrees that Uncle Tom is probably worse than Gusano.
But you're claiming
having a conversation. You're calling me N-word Andy. If I was having a conversation where people in my chat were spamming N-words or whatever at people, I would fucking ban those people. In your chat, over 300 times. No, I don't have to do anything, Mike. I have my own fucking chat and my own fucking community. Don't tell me I have to do shit, okay? I'm not a little whatever. No,
You're not the boss.
I don't have to do anything, okay? I do what the fuck I want to do, okay? Number one. Number two, you had no problem when everybody in your chat was fucking spamming it at me. These two are not comparable things. If I have a position or whatever on how I act in private, that's not the same as endorsing my community to call somebody something. That's a totally fucking different argument.
I'll be honest, I don't even know what half these words meant until today.
Which word?
Just to be really clear on that, Mike explicitly multiple times repeated during our conversation that he had no problem with anybody in his community calling me a Gusano, and it was used over 200 times in his chat against me while we were talking about it, and he defended it explicitly in our conversation.
it's not like the N-word at all, for one. But like, so let's say I'm arguing with someone on Twitter. I find out they're American. I call them a Yankee, a ghoul, a baby murderer, whatever. I'm not. I might be using as you defined, a slur, but is it an ethnic slur? Is it a racial slur? Obviously not.
What? If I had to vote in an Iowa caucus right now, like if it was my caucus,
are the worst.
I think if it came time for it to be my caucus, I'd probably do a bit more reading. It would probably be Warren. I think would be the one who I would back, or maybe Biden.
A status quoer.
What?
Why Biden? Just curiosity. I'm easily influenced, so maybe you can bring me back.
I think I was okay with most things under the idea of like what Obama did and the direction that Hillary wanted to go. Biden seems to be like represents a continuation in that direction. And then Warren would probably be a little bit more progressive in terms of her policies, which I think I would like. The idea of entirely dismantling the ACA and trying to push through something completely new is not something I'm too thrilled about.
I
know that Pete is more progressive than Biden. If Pete was like 50, I might support Pete. The thing that worries me about Pete, from just purely from a policy point of view, I like Pete and everything that he said, but Pete is like he's so new to politics, and his track record thus far is not that good. So it's really hard to say like the direction that he would go. Like I just don't have enough data on Pete to feel confident about like his direction. It's my problem with Pete right now. Actually, I haven't heard Bloomberg say anything stupid, though. Maybe I would actually support Bloomberg. I don't know. Actually, Bloomberg seems like a pretty chill dude.
Murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male minorities, 15 to 25. That's true in New York. It's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of the people that get killed. She's going to be want to spend the money for a lot of cops in the street, put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. So it's one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh my God, you are arresting kids for marijuana that are all minorities. Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in the minority neighborhoods. Yes, that's true. Why do we do it? Because that's where all the crime is. And the way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them against the wall and frisk them. And then they say, oh, I don't want that. I don't want to get caught, so they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they
come back. There is this business. It's a couple of one newspaper and one news service. They just keep saying, oh, it's a disproportionate percentage of a particular ethnic group. That may be, but it's not a disproportionate percentage of those who witnesses and victims describe as committing the murder. In that case, incidentally, I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
You don't want Bernie? You pretty much mentioned everybody but Bernie. Do you not like Bernie?
I don't like almost any of Bernie's policies, unfortunately. I would take Bernie over Trump in a heartbeat, but Bernie goes so far left on some things that it's just too much.
Like what?
Like national rent control is not something I'm a big fan of. Federal jobs guarantees and the Green New Deal is not something I'm a big fan of. I don't think he has the political capital to get anything remotely similar to Medicare for All passed. I think that's way too extreme right now, so I'm not really a big fan of that. 1, 2, 3. I'm not a big fan of
exactly.
Rent control is where if you have a building and you rent it out for a certain dollar amount, you're not allowed to raise the rent past a certain percentage each year. That's determined by the state or federal government.
Some states are already like that, though, right?
Yeah, some states have rent control, yeah. But the idea is that it disincentivizes reinvestment into property. It causes a lot of properties that are rental properties to be converted to condos and sold, and it disincentivizes the construction of new property because why the fuck would you build property if you can't have the rent reflect the actual price of the unit?
Interesting. What about universal, what about free education or public
Oh, that's something that I also like Pete's stance on more.
What position issue do you
I don't
think
like
the most on since the 2016
I don't
election?
think I'm not sure if education should be free. It sounds good, and I thought about this a lot in the past where I thought it should be free. The more I think about it, like college degrees are actually so insanely fucking valuable. Like if you have 80,000 in debt, but you're earning, you know, like 3 times whatever you would have with a high school degree, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing that you have to pay that debt back. Like if your earnings potential has increased massively, like that's an investment that you make in your education, and now you have it, and now it's fine to pay it back. I don't know how I feel about the idea, like, oh no, it should all be like debt forgiveness or whatever. Like, well, why the fuck should we forgive the debt of some guy that's making, you know, like 70, 80K a year now because he got his comp sci degree? Like,
but 80,000, like student debt is like just ridiculous. Like it's insanity.
Yeah,
like,
but so is the wage
tuition
premium.
costs.
Yeah, but the wage premium conferred to college degrees holders is like really fucking ridiculous too. Like the median income, I think, of a person with some high school is like 31,000 a year. The median income of somebody with a 4-year bachelor's is like 56,000 a year. It's insane. You almost double your earnings potential.
But you don't have a favorite candidate right now. It sounds like that's the thing.
I mean, like Pete says shit that sounds okay, but like the problem is that like I'm pretty moderate politically. Like I'm much more politically woke now than I used to be. Like I used to be like a full like national polls, federal projects, and that's it, and not care about like district to district shit. And I like paying attention to that more. I've moved so much on that over the past couple of years. Like I cringe at how hard I shit on Hillary in the past, and then I see like the political strategy that I was just blind to in the past. Like really bothers me. At how naive I was. So like seeing that now, like I'm very much in favor of more moderated approaches to things because it's how you actually get things done. But like the only candidate that represents that right now, you've got Biden, who seems like his brain could fall out of his ear at any moment, and then, you know, Pete, who's very young and has a kind of questionable record, and I just don't have much to judge him by because of how young and how the gaffes he's made so far in his short political career. Like, yeah, I don't know. So it's rough. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I don't have a good moderate candidate to pick out of.
Or you, and like, because you kind of came to prominence at the same time, like BreadTube, like the bigger ones came to prominence as you started tearing down a lot of these alt-right figures, right? Like going on the kill stream and debating fucking all those people. You, somebody that likes you quite a lot. Been watching Destiny again. I've watched Destiny nonstop for the last like 3 years. Okay, so that. Who are you rooting for? I'm rooting for Vaush. He's the imposter. Vaush pretty consistently speaks positively of you from his community and encourages people to support you. And I do the same thing, even to this day, even though I'm kind of disappointed with the current shit going on with you and Vaush, because I, you know, look up to both of you.
He called Cormentine a brain-dead dipshit. It's really funny. Destiny, you know, my DMs are open to you anytime, my dude. If we listen, I know we disagree on a lot, but we both hate Nazis, okay? Can we get you back on fighting Nazis? Can we do that? Can we point you in a different direction, please? Can we reorient you rhetorically, perhaps? That should sound pretty good. Hey, nice to meet you. Finally in person. After years.
Yeah.
You look pretty much the same in person.
Thanks, you do too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope we both look good in our cams.
I shall